Russia's war-driven economy is now showing unmistakable signs of weakness after months of being propped up by massive government military spending. Recent figures point to a steep decline. Manufacturing has suffered its fastest contraction since March 2022. The ruble's appreciation has also made Russian goods less competitive globally, slashing exports and triggering the deepest wave of manufacturing job losses in over 2 years. Equipment investment has also dropped to its lowest point in years. Inflation remains a persistent challenge, hitting 10% earlier this year before subsiding slightly, but still well above the Russian central bank's target. Although wages and prices keep going up and down, a shrinking workforce is complicating efforts to bring inflation under control, even as interest rates stay elevated. The economy minister's warning is stark. Russia is on a brink of a recession, he says. In response to this downturn, the Central Bank of Russia has cut interest rates twice over the summer, not as a sign of confidence, but as a desperate measure to revive an economy that's losing momentum too quickly. For everyday Russians and businesses, the future looks grim. While calls for a cut of government spending are growing louder, the defense budget remains high with the ongoing war with Ukraine still on. Yet, even in the military sector, the cracks are widening. Arms exports are plunging. Western sanctions have already cut off access to advanced technology, and reliance on expensive Chinese alternatives is increasing. Now, these vulnerabilities are becoming even more exposed as sanctions, diplomatic pressure, and high inflation weighs heavy on stability. Against this backdrop, President Donald Trump has now issued a dramatic ultimatum to Moscow. Scrapping an earlier 50-day deadline, he has now given Russia just 10 to 12 days to demonstrate progress towards ending the war with Ukraine or face sweeping new US sanctions and potentially secondary tariffs targeting nations that continue to trade with Russia, and that includes India as well. Expressing his frustration with Putin during a meeting in Scotland with the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Trump said, and I quote, "There is no reason in waiting. We just don't see any progress being made." He warned that if things don't change, quote unquote, it would be sanctions and even tariffs, maybe secondary tariffs.
We just don't see any progress being made. But there's no reason to wait. If you know what the answer is going to be, why wait? And it would be sanctions and maybe tariffs, secondary tariffs, unless we make a deal. And we might make a deal. I don't know. You don't know. It's we've done so many peace deals. This is the one I started out with, and I've always gotten along with President Putin, and I never really thought this would happen. I thought we'd be able to negotiate something out. And maybe that'll still happen, but it's very late down the process. So I'm disappointed.
Ukraine's leadership has welcomed Trump's uncompromising stance, calling it a clear message of peace through strength. Moscow, meanwhile, has remained silent, though former President Dmitry Medvedev has criticized Trump's ultimatum strategy, warning it risks a broader conflict. As Russia's economy wobbles at a critical juncture and Western pressure intensifies, hard choices loom in Moscow. The question now is, will Putin blink? Will Russia slow the war to save its economy or double down and risk a collapse? The economic armor that's protected Moscow through the years of conflict is now thinning fast. And the next few weeks may not just define the war's path, but also Russia's economic future. For more such news and views, keep watching ET Now.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.